or at least had an emotional connection with John still. We only know this right now for certain because of the evidence, but at the time it should have been a red flag.
There's about 3 or 4 people I keep in contact with. There's probably like 6 or 8 of us that were all really close.
Mm-hmm. And who are those people?
Oh, geez, Diana Basta, people I still keep. I haven't been in contact with her in a long time. I mean, what's this all about? I mean,
well, let me ask you, what ended the relationship between you and John?
You know, it was kind of a weird relationship. I mean, we dated. I can't say that he was my boyfriend. I don't know that he was going to consider me his girlfriend. We dated. We did things. I played sports in college. He played basketball. His brother played basketball. We just, it just didn't work out. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It was like I went out with other guys, saw other guys. I went on lots of vacations.
And once you guys split, were you guys still friends, or kind of,
I mean,
friendly, not friendly?
No, I don't think it was not friendly. I mean, we were friendly. I know that.
So she's doing a self-soothing gesture / possible contemplation gesture with the scratching of her back of her head. But also during this time, she has multiple contempt expressions slip out there. And it's always accompanied by this, like, I'm so taken aback, I'm shaking my head, I'm backing up, I'm defensive, and I have this overt confused expression on my face, which continuously shows up. And that in and of itself, the continuity of this expression all the way through her timeline is strange. There doesn't seem to be a single point that it's not there on some level. And that's strange. But the times that it's not there are actually the times that she seems to be more or less telling the truth. And then once there comes to be a point where it could be incriminating or difficult, then it starts popping out again. That's where this outrageous, confused expression and body dynamic comes in. It's very interesting. And right off the bat, if I had been in that room, this would have been such an enormous red flag that there would have been no choice but to continue asking more questions, pointed questions that slowly manipulate her into either putting herself into a corner or getting her to tell the truth, even inadvertently. But regardless, her nonverbal communication is showing so many red flags that it is overtly suspicious.
We went to Hawaii at one point. Yeah, I mean,
And you were saying that
it's 2009 now.
Had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Do you remember her name or anything? Or what she did?
So remember what I told you about genuine recollection. The expression that comes with it, oftentimes looking off to the side with a narrowing of the eyes as your brain processes through your memories, be it visual, auditory, so on and so forth. She's not having that here. She's looking off and to the side for sure, but there's no expression of contemplation, of memory recollection on any level. She's not trying to recall her name because she doesn't want to recall her name, because she knows she recalls her name because she knows that she's the murderer. So during this time, that's where earlier was important to note, that she does show that genuine recollection face during times of genuine recollection, so that now we can see that it doesn't exist here. And I don't know what these investigators know about nonverbal communication, but if they had, they would have been able to see that and use that as a hinging point or a hook point for them to be able to push harder in their interrogation.
For a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
Well, I think I'm going to say, I think she was a nurse. And I can't even remember how he said he met her. I mean, it's been so long ago.
Well, let me ask you, did you go to their wedding,
No, I didn't go to their wedding. No, I did not go to their wedding.
So in that part, I actually believe that. I don't know that fact. I didn't research to see if Stephanie went to their wedding or not, but judging just off of her facial expression here, as she now has also narrowed her eyes, this is an indicator of likely authentic recollection. I doubt that she went to their wedding. I would believe her here, didn't believe her earlier.
Let me tell you what year he got married. I mean, you know,
Big lip compression in there as well, which can be the biting back of emotion. It also is an indicator of anger oftentimes. In this sort of situation, it might not be an indicator of anger, or it could be a subconscious leakage of it. She could be angry in relation to the wedding. That would make sense, especially since she went and murdered the significant other of the person that she used to date-ish, according to her words.
it's been a million years ago. You know, again, I mean, what, you know, I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
Where did you hear about that?
I saw a poster at work. I'm sure I spoke to him about it. I think I spoke to a friend of his about it.
Interesting. Once again, watching her eyes during these moments of recollection. She also has this self-soothing possible contemplation gesture. In this area, it almost seems like it would be more of a self-soothing gesture with being able to preen or stroke the back of her head to help calm down her nerves in this sort of very intense situation. But also her eyes are still quite wide open the entire time and an indicator of not authentic recollection. Keep in mind, there is the possibility that she could still recall something and her eyes be wide open. So this isn't a solid, hard, fast rule. It's just where the nonverbal evidence is pushing us towards. So in this case, I still don't believe that she's actually recalling. I think she knows these details, and she has to act as if she's trying to recall and can't.
And how did you first learn about that?
Jeez. Someone could have called me. I could have heard it at work. I think at one point there may have been a flyer or something. I know a good friend of his.
Were you on the job back then when that happened?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm sure I was on the job.
So this is interesting as well. Somebody could have called me. It could have been at work. They didn't ask what it could have been. They asked what it was, and she decided to say what it could have been. She's trying to muddy the information here. She's really trying to muddy it. And we know for certain that she does recollect these details because she in fact committed the crime. So during this area, this is just a chance for us to learn how a person can be deceitful, how they can represent and be deceitful. Now there are a lot of Stephanie-specific nonverbal tells during this, but there could be some universal ones as well. So with these things like packing in extra details that don't have to do with the story, not actually recollecting or showing the genuine recollection face, and some of these other various insincerity and anger, disgust tells that we're seeing, those can be considered more universal, where there are other areas that are more specific to Stephanie. But it is still something that's just interesting to note, that she is trying so hard to make that entire area of her life seem extremely fuzzy. And, like I said, it is still probably somewhat fuzzy. It was a while ago that she did this, but you would remember a lot of the details centered around a heinous, brutal murder that you did. That's just how that works. Let's continue watching.
So I would have heard about it with the flyer. He had a good friend, Mike.
I would have heard about it with a flyer. There you see the micro-no movements. That would be considered nonverbal seepage. She's obviously not hearing about it from a flyer, and her body language is showing us that quite clearly now, with the small micro movements of a no to contradict the affirmative action that she's saying.
Mike. Mike. You know.
Being that you're kind of